Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And a while ago I did a video on the Klein rapid drive screwdriver, or this kind of cranking screwdriver. I've done a video on the reversible tip one, and also that it was one of the few tools that the moment I saw somebody with one, before I knew they existed, I immediately got one. And in fact, the one I got was the Phillips, like this. If you're doing any electrical work, especially if you're replacing or removing a lot of switch plate covers, outlet covers, things like that, this is just much better than a standard screwdriver. Now, a lot of us, especially after a recent video I did on the Milwaukee M12 screwdriver, a lot of us are using, power tools essentially. But this is an outstanding tool. If you grab it up here, you can actually apply enough force for most things, but it's super fast. They make it in a slotted version as well. This is the one you often need for switch plate covers and things that still come with slotted screws. But anyway, there is a reversible tip one. It comes with this little kind of ball detent Phillips, number 2 Phillips, and slotted, and it fits into this collar, and you get the same cranking there. Now, Milwaukee has this one now, which is almost identical in many ways to the Klein. Now, I was thinking I'd invent some kind of cool little testing platform that would allow me to spin these things. Didn't quite work. You know what works really well is to stick it in your hand, and then you can get them to spin to kind of compare. In fact, that's what I was after. If they're both down, and what I want to do is actually see how the angles are different, or are they? Let me start again there. Kind of got to get them going there. But once they're going, they seem to be, honestly, get that to focus, about the same. Now, these are special angles. There are some knockoffs or some also-rans that do not have the little kind of special blend or bend there. If you take something, which by the way, when I pulled this thing out, this is a Stanley combination square. You know what? This is one of the few tools where I would go and I would buy a Stanley and just kind of expect that a Stanley is the best one out there. I don't know. What do you think? Especially the USA-made Stanleys, which this one is, as you can see there. Just a classic, solid design, no hesitations. But anyway, going back to this, if I put the shaft of the screwdriver on here, even if I take into consideration the size of that collar, you'll see there is definitely a slope down. That's kind of the secret sauce to these things, if you do it right. Here's the Milwaukee. Give it a little raise there just to take the place of the collar. But you can see it's still there. Not quite as much, maybe, but plenty good. And what that does is allows a much more natural spin. And the way you can tell is as you spin it, like I'm doing here, do it this way, how much movement. Because obviously if this thing's flying around, well, it's going to be a little bit tough to keep it centered on the screw. Now there is a touch here, but here's something I noticed. When I do this with the Milwaukee, I'm going fast. You can see here. Watch how much deviation there is versus the Klein. Here's the Klein, holding it the same way. The Klein, I noticed just a little bit more movement. So it might not be that Milwaukee also ran, but Milwaukee might have refined it just a hair in this bend. Maybe they, I don't know, maybe they just tried to avoid a patent. I doubt it. These have been around for a long time. By the way, you can read the number on this, maybe. If you can't, it is the 48222916. Milwaukee calls it the quick fastening screwdriver. But anyway, I think they have just made a degree, or maybe even a fraction of a degree bend here. Little stouter column, or a shaft there. A little bit longer, I don't know why, in the collar there. These are interchangeable. They are detent, ball detent, so it doesn't matter which is which. They easily flip around. In fact, I'll just throw that in both of them. That'd be the easiest. So you can see So those are almost identical. They might even have come from the same factory, I don't know, on the tips here. The Milwaukee is made in Taiwan. That's what it says. The Klein has got the Made in USA branding on it. And the classic kind of multi-component handle of the rubber overmold on top of an acetate handle. It's very similar here, just a little bit more flare. Those are the two. If you look at their markings, here's the, get that to focus there. Might be, I don't know, is that the Milwaukee? See what this one says. This one says nothing. Maybe that's the Milwaukee and that's the Klein. That's probably what it is. But, whoops, very similar. Anyway, Milwaukee is going after Klein. It seems pretty hard, pretty aggressively, across even the small tool space. I'm going to spend more time basically going head-to-head with Klein and Milwaukee. Here's another one that I'm going to do soon with their actually, look at that. Here we got the 27-in-1 tamper-proof, the 27-in-1, and of course, they've also got very similar bits, but not maybe tamper-proof. See that? Yeah, maybe that one is tamper-proof. Some of them are, but that's a different video. Anyway, there are just so many tools, and I've got a bunch of them, where there are Kleins and Milwaukees that are darn near identical, but Klein is classic. Milwaukee has spent just a little bit of time doing a few changes. And at first I thought maybe that those changes were just to get their product to stand out a little bit more. But in fact, just like with that tiny little angle there, that is so smooth. I thought the Klein was smooth. I can get it to be really smooth, but the Milwaukee is oddly a more natural smooth if I don't do anything. The Klein, that's my more natural spin on the Klein. Really close. I can try to get these just perfect, but it surprised me. Anyway, let me know your experience if you've been using any of these or noticing any particular Klein Milwaukee competition that you think stands out. And with that, Doc out.